Then my name's Marianne. I'm the owner and the counsellor at Marianne Hanson Counselling Service. You can find also my Facebook page is the same name, Marianne Hanson Counselling Service, where you'll find all my details on there. I think I've included them on here as well. And what I want to talk about in this video is 7 tools to develop and maintain in today's world. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking down at my notes to make sure that I stay succinct and I don't go off on a tangent like I do sometimes. So this has come up because I just think that a lot of the work I do as a counsellor and a coach, and sometimes when I'm just having general conversations online with different people, there's certain things that come up that where people are struggling to find their motivation. People are talking about this idea that they just don't have meaning or purpose in their life anymore. And this is a good way sometimes to just get back on track and to just look at, what do we need right now? What do we need in the world in order for us to, maintain and develop key tools to get us through life, really. It's just like life tools. So the first one is self-discipline. So I saw a quote yesterday and I can't remember who it's from because I haven't written that down. But it says self-discipline is the ability to make yourself do what you should do when you should do it, even when you don't feel like it. So it's a simple quote, but it's just self-discipline to me is one of the main tools that you need to develop as an adult, but also to teach your children as well. Because if you don't have discipline, what tends to happen is you are just guided by temptation. You're guided by laziness. You're guided by what's easy, what's convenient, what is simple, what is less of a challenge, what is comfortable. So then you spend all of your time doing things based on those things instead of having self-discipline to say, well, this is what I need to do because this is what needs to be done. I don't have time to mess around. I don't have time to put this off anymore. I need to just get it done. So self-discipline is something which we need to develop, and it's easy to develop it. What you do is you just put yourself in situations where there is temptation, or you put yourself in situations where you feel uncomfortable, but you do that over and over again. Hi, I'm Raymel, until you get to a point where you know that you have overcome this ability to just, what's the word called when you're not be self-disciplined. I don't know what the opposite of that is. I'm quite a disciplined person, so for me it takes practice, it takes training. So the second thing that you need to develop and maintain in today's world, and this is a major one that you could do a whole video on this, is financial stability or financial literacy. So I've been doing these videos as shorts on my TikTok and my Instagram, because some people just want to get this short clip. And basically financial stability isn't just about wealth. It's about, first of all, starting with the small things. It's about budgeting. It's about having enough income, living within your means. It's about figuring out ways you can increase your income. It's about saving. It's about being financially intelligent, learning what you need, learning about money, understanding your relationship with money. So when you're living in a world where money is something you can... Hi, Murray. If you're living in the world where sometimes people are linking things together, so a good example would be someone feels depressed, so they say, I need to go out and spend money because that will make me feel better. But then they end up being in debt because they've spent that money. So then they become stressed because they can't make the payments. So instead of them making the link, they do the same thing again. They go back in that circle. So they get into debt. They see their credit card statement. So they say, oh gosh, I'm in debt. There's a thing on TikTok. Hi, I'm Prince M too. There's a thing on TikTok which is called it's called doom spending, I think it's called. I was watching a TikTok about it yesterday, and that's where people think, well, everything's messed up anyway, and everything is bad, and there's nothing going well, so I might as well just spend and get into more debt because life is rubbish anyway. And I just think it's just a strange way of thinking and a strange way of doing things, because if things are already messed up or you already feel like things are bad, why make things worse? So that's where self-discipline comes in. It comes in because you're financial literacy as well, because you're saying that just because you can do something doesn't mean you have to. So one of the tips I can give to you, which is something I do, is every bit of money that comes into my bank account, or whether I'll receive that money cash, is either already accounted for, so I know where it's going, or it goes in a direction. So it will go, hi Bobby, so it will either go into a certain account for holidays, it might go into an account for my emergency fund, but there's never a time where money comes to me and I'm just thinking, oh, what am I going to do with this, or where I just spend it on, blow it on things. And it takes training, it takes discipline to do that, but you can do it. And developing that skill means that you're never going to be in a situation where you are constantly like having to feel stressed about money. You always should be thinking about where you're going to get your next amount of money from, or when your money's coming into you. All these people that say pay yourself first, for example, I don't do that. I pay my bills first, then whatever's spare will go into my savings, some of it will, and then I'll buy something for myself. And maybe, I mean, I don't get a salary as a self-employed person. I don't pay myself a salary. The majority of my money goes towards bills and savings, and then what's spare, I'll treat myself here and there, but I don't have a salary. I've not had a salary since I've become self-employed. You know, if I treat myself to like a nice short break, that's accounted for. I work out how many clients that I'm going to get, how much money that's going to be, and that's what money I'm using for my short break, which I did the other day. Or I'll say, well, I want to use that money instead of a short break for editing, someone to edit a video for me, or I want to use that money to pay my membership for being a counsellor. I'll pay that all in one go. There's always, you know, you just have to, financial literacy just means that you are working with money, not working against it. You know, your relationship with money means that you're not going to be doing these things where you're just doing these affirmations. There's loads of people online talking about, there was a lady the other day that said, visualize a check of £50,000 being in your mailbox. And then she said to sit and do that for 30 days and then go to your mailbox and I just thought, I mean, she's getting the views, let's be honest, but it's not something I believe in. I do think you can maybe manifest things. I do believe in law of attraction in some ways, but I don't think that if you're just sitting in your house all day and you're not doing anything to generate an income or money, that all of a sudden you're going to get a check for £250,000, unless, say, you have someone leaves that to you in their will or something like that. Hi, Rio. So, financial stability. So the next one is confidence and assertiveness. So that is a skill that you need to develop to live in this world. You need to be able to stand up for yourself. You need to be able to ask for what you need. You need to be able to communicate. There are lots of people who don't work on their communication skills, and it's something which will hold you back in life. You know, being able to be assertive and say what you want, whether that's in business, whether that's in your personal life, whether that's to complete strangers, or even just being able to hold a conversation with someone will take you very far in life. You know, if you're on holiday somewhere, or if you're, the amount of short breaks I've been on where I've stayed in a guest house, or I've been to a part of the world where I normally wouldn't go to, or part of the UK, and you just having like really nice conversations with people about how they set up their Airbnb, or you're having conversations with people about, you know, where they're from, or this sort of thing. It just, you can sometimes learn things from it. So sometimes it's social, but you can also learn business skills from it, or you can learn different things. So in general, if you want to get further in life, and you want to, whether it's in business or in, you have to interact with people, and you have to be able to be confident enough to go to places and to do things that maybe other people don't have the confidence to do. But you can develop confidence. That's the brilliant thing. Hi, I'm Rio. Yeah. So you can, that's another thing. If any of these things on this list are not tools that you already have, because they're not in the toolbox, or you haven't developed them, that's the brilliant thing, is you can develop them later on in life. So you're American, Rio. Oh, brilliant. Okay, thanks for, oh yeah, thanks for joining from America. And hi, Jacob, as well. So the next thing to develop is self-awareness. Self-awareness is about not comparing yourself to others, knowing who you are and loving who you are. People don't put enough time into becoming self-aware, you know, into recognizing why something is triggering them, or why they're behaving in a particular way. I think You need to work on that every day. That's part of the self-development stuff, so that you're not clueless about what. So if you're being triggered by something, or if someone or something gets to you and you keep reacting to it and you don't take any action to like make changes to that, then that's because you're not working on your self-awareness, you're not working on your self-development. It can transform your life if you learn how to not be triggered by certain things. It can transform your life if you learn how to interact with people who previously would have triggered you to the point where you're gonna like get into arguments with them or that sort of thing. That alone can change your life, because the people will notice the difference. You've put you're triggered by sleep. I don't get that. You're triggered by sleep. I don't understand what that means. So it means that you are, then you can go out into the world and you can feel confident enough to say, well, you know, this person might say that this is what they believe, that's what they think, but I'm not going to get into an argument with them. Or you can go on social media and someone can say something and you know that they're just trying to get you to react. Because most people in the world, or a lot of people, that's their day job. Their day job is going around saying silly things, doing silly things, and waiting for the reaction. And then when the reaction comes, they're responding to that reaction. And there's loads of people that do that online, and there's loads of people that do that in real life. But you don't have to be the one that reacts to it. You can make a decision that you're not going to go there, but you can just, that's up to them, that's their thing. So sleep makes you upset because you can't get it right. You can't get your sleep right. Okay, so maybe then think about sleep habits. I've actually made videos. I think I've made videos about sleeping habits. If I haven't, I will do on here. So that's fine. So the sixth thing is resilience. So there's only two more things. Resilience is about having mental strength, being able to bounce back and not expecting life to be easy or things to go smoothly. If people learn that life isn't a smooth road, that everything isn't comfortable, everything isn't easy, that there will be challenges, but you can still survive, you can still learn to navigate those things, then it would reduce a lot of stress. Because the stress comes from thinking that life is easy and that life is smooth and that there's not going to be any ups and downs. And there will be ups and downs, but if you prepare yourself mentally to tackle those ups and downs, then it's going to be less stressful for you. So resilience just means that you have this mental toughness. There's a book called The Mental Toughness Handbook. It's actually on this channel because I did a book review of it. I would highly recommend it. This book talks about, you know, Marines, you know, and the things that they have to go. Imagine, I still can't imagine, because when it's giving you the description of being tied up, so having your hands or your legs tied, I don't know what they do with legs or hands, and then throwing someone into a pool. This is what they do for Marines training. And then this person has to use, I don't even know if it's their hands and their legs, but they're tied something, and they have to like resist the urge of the fact that you feel you're going to drown. And you have to find some way of getting back up from the bottom of that when they've thrown you in, up, without using your arms or your legs. I don't know which. Now, I can't think of anything more scary in the world. Well, there's probably more things, but that's one thing which the majority of people are not going to be able to do that. They will not be able to do that training. They will not be able to be thrown in, because even on the program SAS Who Dares Wins, when they're not under that pressure, but they just have to jump in, there's people who can't even do that. So what he's trying to say is this resilience, this mental toughness, is something that you build. So is it Blatt? I think, I can't remember if that's your name. So you can build that around like life. Some things are gonna, you know, challenge you. Some things are gonna test you. Some things you're gonna fail at. But that's part of life. I see life as a challenge. I see life as being, what are some things that are gonna be thrown at me? And how am I going to manage this? That is where you learn. You're joking. That is where you learn. That is where you learn about how tough you are as a person. That is where you learn what you're made of. That is where you learn what life is about. Because if you go through life so smoothly that there's no challenges for you, then it's good, because you don't have to purposely say you want pain, you want suffering, you want a challenge. But the point is, you have to also accept that those challenges can teach you something. So building resilience just means that, you know, you're for me, I think I'm quite, what's the word called? What's that word that they say, or phrase? Tough, not tough. Hard-skinned. But I'm not so hard-skinned that nothing touches me, because I can be emotional, I can be sensitive. But at the same time, there's not much that's going to like bring me down, like really down. So it's not going to be having like a disagreement with someone online. That is the least of that's like bottom of the thing. It's not going to be if I'm walking down the street and someone says something to me. That would also be down there. There's so many things which like other people are really bothered about and absorb, that we can just put those things down to the bottom of the scheme of things. Do those things really matter? If someone says to you, oh, thanks, Mikas, I appreciate it. If someone says something to you and it has no relevance or bearing on your life, but I'm not trying to say that this is not an issue for people, because it is. And, you know, and the work that I do as a counsellor sensitively is to look at how people are feeling, and it's not to dismiss those feelings, but it's trying to put it into perspective for that person so that they recognise that, you know, if you become more resilient, and that means that you say to yourself, you know, I'm happy with who I am. So if someone says, you know, you're unattractive, or if someone says, I don't like this about you, or if someone says, I want you to change this, or if someone does something to you that mistreats you, that you've got the confidence and the resilience to stand up for yourself, but also to say, I don't care what they think. You know, 10 people could say that about me, but I'm happy with me. And it takes work. I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't. Hi, Sandra. Thanks for the compliment. Thanks. Because, you know, I've said this a few times on my channel. I was bullied at school. I didn't feel brilliant when I was being bullied by lots of people, but it didn't stop me from not taking on board what the bullies said. I never ever once had a day where I thought, yeah, I just thought they're stupid, they're pathetic. I didn't think, oh, they're right, what they're saying about me. But it can affect your confidence, because you can think, why are so many people picking on me? So I wouldn't go that far, Maroof, but thank you, thanks. I appreciate the compliment. So let's do the seventh thing. This is the last one. Resourcefulness. Now, I could do all of these videos, all of these 7 things, and I could do a separate video because they're just so powerful. But resourcefulness means that you access your inner resources when you are your back's up against the wall. It means you access external resources when you need them. You are able to ask for help. You dig yourself out of a hole when you need to. You're a problem solver. You come up with a plan. Being a resourceful person means that someone could drop you in the middle of nowhere with no way of getting home. You know, when you see those programs like, what are they called? Oh my gosh, my memory's not with me. These are these programs where they leave them in the middle of nowhere with no money, and they say, find your way back. Or programs like The Hunted, where that's it, race across the world, Hunted. Okay, so don't worry, I can see things on here. You can talk amongst yourselves. But anyway, what those types of programs, they teach people how to be resourceful. So if you develop resourcefulness, what that means is that you develop problem-solving skills. And it's so powerful, because then when you're in a rut or when you're stuck somewhere, you say, I know what I'm going to do about this, or I know that this is... You don't give up on yourself. You don't doubt that things are not going to turn out right. So what are people? I can see some messages on here. I think people are talking amongst themselves, but thanks to everyone that's joining anyway. So resourcefulness is something which you can develop straight away, because you can start to put yourself in situations where maybe, you know, they're a bit of a challenge, or they're a bit slightly out of your comfort zone, and you can see what it takes, what inner resources you can reach in and get, what external resources that you need that can kind of get you out of these situations. The other point of resourcefulness is sometimes asking for help and knowing who to ask when you need it. People think sometimes resourcefulness is, you know, about people. I can see some messages, but I'm not sure. Okay, I'll have to probably check. I'll let you guys talk amongst yourself, because I don't think I can fully see what's happening. I can see someone saying they're scared, but I'm not sure. Scared of the dark. Okay, so yeah, those are the 7 tools to develop and maintain in today's world, are just to refresh self-discipline, financial literacy and stability, confidence and assertiveness, self-awareness, resilience and resourcefulness. There's probably more, but these are the key ones that I think are to develop. If anyone in the comments wants to send me a message about either anything we've talked about or about, thanks Sandra, appreciate it. If you want more information about how I work as a counsellor and a coach, or if you just want to send some information based on this video, you can go either send it on here, or you can go to my Facebook page, Marianne Hanson Counselling Service. And I know that there's been lots of different comments. I've not been able to keep up with everything, but anyone that has been in the comments and wants to, needs anything, then please feel free to sort of send me a message and I will respond to you. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate everyone for joining on this live stream, and anyone that joins on the replay, appreciate that as well. I'll be back next Monday. Every Monday I go live, at least till the end of the year. Then I'll decide by next year whether I'm going to continue with weekly lives. It was good to see you all. So as I can still see messages, but I can't keep up with what they're saying. We just need to love each other. Yeah, that's a really nice message, Sandra. So take care, everyone, and I'm going to end the live stream now. So thanks for watching.